Welcome to Kinesiology 796, which is titled Comprehensive Exam. This is your final class in this program. My name is Jim Ave, and I am your professor for this class. I'm going to go over the expectations for this class, what you're going to be doing during the time that you're enrolled in this course. And I'm using the syllabus, so you should have the syllabus in front of you so you can refer to that as I'm talking about different things in our course. Let's start our class with going over a Bible verse. This is from the book of James, from chapter 1, verse 17, from the English Standard Version. James wrote, "Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change." I like this particular verse because it tells us that God provides us with good and perfect gifts. I hope that your time here at Fresno Pacific University has been good. I hope it may not be perfect, but I hope that it's been good, and I hope you have seen it as a gift from God the Father. So I also want to tell you congratulations. You made it to this point in the program. You completed all your coursework with a B- or credit or better, hopefully better. And now you have your last thing in our program to do, which is to complete the comprehensive exam. And the purpose of the exam, what's the purpose of this crazy test? Is to test your knowledge, comprehension, application, and synthesis of the concepts and theories taught throughout our time in the graduate program. And so let's go ahead and turn to the Appendix A. In the syllabus, I'm going to be going over things in the appendix during this time. So the first requirement, or one of the requirements for you being able to take the comprehensive exam, I'm going to call it comps too, is that you have, as I said earlier, earned a B- or credit in all the graduate courses in the program, and you have a minimum of a 3.0 GPA in the program. So what you're going to do is answer a certain number of questions. You'll see that when in your Moodle, that each student will answer a certain number of questions that will test your understanding of those concepts. You'll have 14 days, some classes, because this recording is going to be used more than in one of the courses. It depends on when the holiday lands. Sometimes one of the holidays in the semester is the 14th day, and I don't like to have students turn in a significant assignment like this on a major holiday where nobody here is going to be on campus to help you if you have any issues with submitting your assignments, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. So yeah, 14 days. Check out the schedule in the syllabus and in Moodle when the due date is for your comprehensive exam. We will not accept late work. It's up to you to turn in everything on time. So when you answer your questions, make sure that you support your answers using references. These can be your textbooks that we used in the program, can be journal articles, but should be references. You should support your answers with references or evidence, or as I like to say, evidence-based academics, because you are not the expert unless you're been asked a personal question. But that's one of the things that I've noticed over the comps is that students just do not support their answers with enough references. You should also follow APA, and I have provided you a template in Moodle. So use that template when you are answering each question. you'll see that you have to save your file with a certain file name. So for each question, we'll have 3 separate files. So if you, for question number 1, for example, if you answer that question, the file name should be question 1, and it should be a .docx probably with Microsoft Word. And in the template, you'll see in the template that I tell you to provide the question, the complete question, the whole long question. Doesn't matter if it's a short question or a long question. Provide it in the answer. Double space it just like it's shown in the questions file that you have been provided. And then don't provide an extra space. Just go right after you provided the question, provide your answer. Follow APA for section titles, for in-text citations, on the reference page citations, and all those other fun APA style referencing. I already provided you most of the things with the style formatting. You'll notice that in the template there is no title page. Do not include your name anywhere in your answer. That includes in the template, or sorry, brain just said the wrong word. And if you have any appendices, do not include your name in any appendices anywhere at all. First name, last name, get rid of your name anywhere in any of the answers for the exam. Why? Because we will assess your work anonymously. We don't want to know who you are. Each answer, again, will have a separate file. You'll submit in Turnitin inside Moodle. Turnitin, you'll see in the Moodle web page or in the Moodle class page, is what Turnitin is doing is it is checking your paper for originality, or the other way to look at it, it's checking your paper for plagiarism. So you'll see in the directions in Moodle for Turnitin that I tell you do not submit your answer with the question in it or with the reference page, because all those things will get flagged. So just turn in your answers and Turnitin. Do it early. Give yourself 3 or 4 days ahead of time, because what it's going to do is scan your paper and see how much of it's been plagiarized. Now, if you have cited the information that has been flagged, then it's not plagiarized because you have cited the correct reference. I think the number I'm looking for, anything over 25%, you need to review your answer and fix those problems and then resubmit. Now again, if what's being flagged you have correctly cited, then that's not an issue. It's if you have a bunch of stuff that's been flagged, that it's been submitted somewhere else, and there are no citations to that supporting it, or you have large chunks of information that is just copied and pasted from a resource, that's not a good answer. You're not using your own brain there. You're using other people's information. Okay, so if you have questions about that type of stuff, I'll help you with that. Then after you get your report back from the Turnitin tool, and you're good, everything looks good, you're under that 25% margin, then you'll submit your answers in TaskStream. Each answer needs to go into its correct question number. You'll see there are multiple different numbers for each question, so make sure you submit it to the right number in TaskStream. If you have a question about TaskStream, I have an email link in Moodle to help you with that, because I'm not the expert in TaskStream. I'm just a user, just like you. Recommendations that I have for you to be successful in the comps. We've been doing this for a while. And if you're not the best writer in the world, get help with your writing. Now, the person or persons who are going to help you write cannot write the paper. They can help you with the structure of the sentences, the structure of the paragraphs, and structure of the paper, but you're writing the paper and they're giving you help with grammar and those type of things. This person cannot have any association with this graduate program. Should not be former students, current students, or even potential future students in this graduate program. But you can get help with writing if you're not a strong writer. But you still got to do the work, but they help you with edits. Other recommendations, the reason why a student may not pass a question is because obviously the answer is incorrect. That's one reason why a student may not may not pass a question. The other reason is that the answer is unclear because the writing cannot quite understand what you're trying to tell us. You have not supported what you have written with references. When you don't provide references, that's telling me or the person who's reading the paper that you are the expert and you came up with all this information, which you are not an expert yet. So the primary reasons why people don't do well if they don't do well on the comps is the writing's so poor we can't understand them, haven't supported what you write with references, or incorrectly answered a question. You have time. You have at least 14 days to answer the questions. Take your time, answer the question correctly, try to understand what we're trying to ask you, and support your answer with references, and answer the question correctly. Another recommendation is have somebody who has nothing to do with our area, kinesiology, athletic training, sport administration, read the question, read your answer, do they understand what you're trying to tell them? Because if somebody who's not a PE teacher, not a coach, not an athletic trainer, not a sport administration type person can understand what you're trying to explain in the answer, more than likely you've done a pretty good job with the answer. Okay, so after you turn in your answers to the comps and task stream, each answer will be assessed independently and anonymously by two faculty members. So let's say that I am assessing one question, then another faculty member is assessing the other question. How we do things is we read all the questions independent of one another. We do all our work independent. We wait until we've completed all the assessment for that particular question before we discuss how we think the students have done. Okay, so we don't know how each other are going to grade until we come back together and say, hey, we basically tell each other, let's just talk about the students that we didn't think passed, because if we agree that everybody with those who have been successful, and the reason to have a discussion about that, it's the students that we're not too sure, maybe they're borderline on your answer. You'll see that in task stream, it's a 4 points, a 0 to 4 scale. In order to pass the comprehensive exam, your score between the two faculty members has to be a 2.01 or greater in task stream. What that means is that you have satisfied the criteria for each question. In Moodle, you'll see the rubrics that we're going to be using for each question. Review those rubrics. Know what we're going to assess you on, so you can be aware of that. So after the two faculty agree and come to consensus on the scores for each student, I will inform you of your results. You either get the email saying, congratulations, you have completed your graduate program, and give you more information about what to do, how to get your diploma, how to apply for to complete the program. If you're going to walk through the ceremonies, do all that type of stuff. I provide you with all that information in that email if you pass. Hopefully you answer all questions correctly and you pass. That's the email that you want to get from me. But some students, maybe 20-25% of students fail one question. And what happens if that's you? Well, what happens is you get the opportunity to rewrite that one question in this semester. So you'll see in the syllabus the due date for that rewritten question. I'll tell you that in the email when it's due. Again, you'll have to turn that rewritten answer in, turn it in, and in TaskStream. It's usually a week later when you have to do that. The same two faculty will reassess it, and hopefully you pass. And if you pass, you're done with the program. Typically what happens out of the 10 to 20% of students that fail one question, they get the opportunity to rewrite and they pass it that second time. So that's what we hope that all students pass the very first time. But if you mess up on one, you get the opportunity to rewrite and hopefully pass it on that second rewrite. Now, what happens if you fail more than one of the answers? And this doesn't happen too often. What typically will happen here is, again, the writing is so poor that you can't pass because we can't understand what you're trying to tell us. So if you fail 2 or 3 questions, you have failed that first attempt on the comps. You have to re-register for the comps the next time it's offered and answer questions in the area of your deficiency on the next opportunity of the comps. Then we follow the same process that we talked about earlier. 2 faculty members assess, and hopefully you pass that next opportunity. This is all clearly described in the appendix, so make sure that you read that so you're aware of what I'm trying to tell you. And let's not have that even be a possibility. Let's all pass the first time. So what happens if you have questions? Okay, unlike other classes where you can ask faculty members to review your work ahead of time, you're not allowed to do that in this class. This isn't an exam. So I can answer questions on format, clarifications a little bit sometimes, not too much, depends on what the question is. I've tried to clean up some of the areas that students have had questions about in the past, but these questions, if you have questions, post them in the Q&A forum. Again, I can answer a question about structure, formatting, how do you submit papers and those type of things. But questions about the actual answers to the questions, those are questions I will not answer. And lastly, take your time. You got 14 days. Answer the question thoroughly, comprehensively, support with references, write clearly so we can understand what you're trying to tell us. Don't assume that we know anything. Let me end this on a positive note. We've only had one student in the 6 years or so that we've been doing the comps fail the comps and not get their degree. And this student had multiple opportunities, but the writing was so poor, we just could not understand what this student was trying to communicate to us. So don't go into this knowing that you can be successful. Answer the questions thoroughly.